All right. Hello, everyone. So we'll get started here a little bit early. Last patient finished up pretty quick. So for those that don't know, my name is Dr. John Mullen, physical therapist, certified strength and conditioning specialist, creator of swimming science. One little bit of info. The swimming-science.net website is back up and running. We are slowly but surely curating our content that was on there, but this is a good time for me to go through some of the old posts and get those back out there in a nice brand new look and feel to it. So make sure you are checking that out. Once again, happy to get any feedback, or if anyone wants to help on the website, don't be shy to reach out either on our Facebook account. You can shoot us a message, or info@swimming-science.net. A little bit about me. Once again, physical therapist, owner of Core Personal Training and Physical Therapy facility in Santa Clara, California, where about 50% of our population are swimmers. I've consulted with over 10 Olympians that have earned over 22 medals. Most recently was over in World Championships consulting with some of the Chinese national team swimmers. So once again, this is just an opportunity for me to go through the list of questions that I receive every month, just so everyone can hear kind of how I respond to it. However, if you guys have questions, don't be shy to write it into the comments section. We will be answering those questions first before we move on to the other questions here. So once again, the questions can be a wide variety, ranging from things that I work with a lot, from injury prevention, specific injuries in swimming, strength conditioning, proper exercise technique, swimming biomechanics, my swimming background, who I am, what my favorite pizza is, whatever you guys have, shoot it in the comment section. Be happy to answer it. But I'm just going to get this started by going through some of the messages that I've received this past month, and we'll go from there. So one question was, someone was asking how they can engage their core more when they're swimming. They're a master swimmer, triathlete. They swim 4 times a week, and they're, I guess, just trying to improve their swimming. Looks like they're more open water distance swimmer / masters triathlete. So, engaging the core is an interesting thing where I think people can overthink about engaging the core. The main thing, though, is body position. So sometimes it's not about, bracing your core, getting it active as much as possible, but instead having a better body alignment in the water. So trying things like recording yourself and seeing what you look like underwater. That would be the first place to start to see if you need to engage your core more, or what you need to do to change that. You could also record those videos, work with online specialists. Dr. G, USA Swimming, does a great job with his underwater analysis system. At Swimming Science, we're getting it back up again, but we do an underwater video analysis again. So, sending those over to experts to take a look at it can be helpful. They can give you different drills, different tips to work on. In general, the most common thing I see are people with their hips sagging a little bit too much. If their hips are sagging too much, I usually just recommend having the athlete press their chest down a little bit. That will naturally engage the core and hopefully improve that streamlined position in the water. Once again, it's hard to say exactly what needs to be done until we see a video, because everyone is a little different. Maybe it's not a core strength issue, but just a position, maybe what they need to think about more. But that'd be my first place to start looking at, is trying to press the chest down a little bit more. But once again, get some underwater video, work with someone who can analyze it, or whatever. You're at a master's team, you got a coach, have them take a look at it, give them their 2 cents. Oftentimes, people just don't speak up at those workouts. So speak up. Hopefully they can help you out along the way. Okay? Next question. Does the high elbow catch and front crawl risk the shoulders? Sorry, comment. I can't speak Turkish, so this webcast will not be in Turkish, if that's how you say it. But anyway, so does the high elbow catch risk the shoulders? Okay, so high elbow catch, we're here, we're getting in front, boom, we're right there. It's one of those. Aaron, you actually mind grabbing the shoulder for me? By the way, Aaron Cameron, swimmer, at Swim at Michigan, physical therapist at Core now. So anyways, let's get back to it. So in the high elbow catch position in freestyle, when the athlete is coming through for that catch, there is certainly going to be risk and stress at the shoulder. There's no doubt about it, okay? That's swimming. You're going to put stress on your shoulders. You're in this position, boop, there we go. Here's our shoulder. Here's our humerus. This is the scapula, as well as the rotator cuff muscles around here. When we're doing that catch position in the high elbow, if that arm is completely extended going right into it, like most elite athletes are able to do, that is going to reduce the amount of space where the rotator cuff muscles may rub underneath the bones in the shoulder. So that is going to increase shoulder stress. There's no doubt about it, but it's something that comes with the sport. Every sport has its stresses. That is just something that comes with it. A few things you can do to reduce that is to have the athlete's hand dive deeper, so they're catching it instead of in full shoulder flexion, but a little bit more shallow in front. However, that gets into the debate of, is that going to be the fastest thing for the swimmer? So once again, an individual needs report or needs analysis needs to be determined if modifying that stroke technique is best for that athlete. And once again, maybe they are having so much shoulder pain, and we have athletes like this at Core where they have so much shoulder pain, but we want to get them back in the water. We got to get them back to the water by any means necessary. And sometimes that's sacrificing propulsion in the short term. However, we do want to build back up to the highest propulsive method for the fastest horizontal velocity. Let's be honest, that's really the name of the game: getting up swimming speed, improving propulsion, reducing drag, and typically the high elbow catch is the way to get there. And I think that's the most universally accepted way to get there. Okay. Okay. Next question here. This is an athlete that gets a lot of cramps in his legs. He says he's tried ice baths, electrolyte pills, magnesium, all types of stuff. So pretty much he wants to know what to do about cramps. Okay. I wrote a few articles in the past. I'll try and dig them up and post them on Swimming Science once again. But most of the time, cramps that we're starting to learn about, and there's different causes about it, but what we're trying to learn, or what we're starting to see with cramps, is that most of exercise induced cramps, it's fatigue. It's these muscles are reaching their point that they're not used to working, and then they start to seize up and cramp. That's why if you're working in like a neuro PT clinic and things like that, you can get a cramp even though you're only just started the exercise. So it's this muscle, it's just fatigued, it's hitting that point, and it's seizing up and cramping up. So one thing that you can do to improve your cramps is, this is going to sound rude, but get in better shape. Okay, most of the times cramps happen in the beginning of the season with new equipment or adding extra equipment. Fins, foot, calf cramp killers. Let's be honest here. Preseason, this part of the season where most of the people in the U.S. are just ramping back up, this is cramp season. So it's just as one of those, you got to build up your leg strength, build it up. That will be the best thing for it. There are a few other things you can do. Self-myofascial releases to the calves, to the feet, because if your muscles are tight already, so you did a big workout, and you know tomorrow's a big kick set day, start rolling out your calves, start rolling out your feet, start rolling out these areas that cramp up a lot. Maybe your quads are the cramping point, because if they're already tight, then you get to practice. That's just going to cause fatigue earlier on. Cramp City is going to be your next destination. So make sure you are working on those things to help it out. But as far as, in my opinion, I think electrolyte pills, maybe if you're deficient, but most of us aren't that deficient in these things. We eat a lot of those things. Ice baths. Yeah, there's a lot of mixed reviews and things all over the place with ice baths. I haven't seen or utilized that much for cramping. I have used that with some of our elite athletes. Sun Yang, he was always an advocate of ice baths, always doing it, always taking care of his recovery. Also get 3 to 5 hours of soft tissue work a day. So, you got to keep in mind recovery when you're starting to think about performance, and cramping is certainly going to limit performance in training. Okay, when are we coming to Florida? Anytime soon? I don't know. No invites to Florida anytime on my docket. I don't think I have any lectures or talks going out there, but we'll have to find a way to get ourselves out there, have a good time in Florida. I have a friend who's starting a brewery out there, I guess, so give me an excuse to get on out there. Other question, how important do you think the role of a sports psychologist is in swimming? Why? What are the top 3 mental skills a swimmer should have? So I think it depends on the athlete, how much they need a sports psychologist. From what I've heard from insider information, leading up to 2012, Phelps had 2 sports psychologists on staff. And it's, you could say, well, he's so mentally strong. He did all this, but, there's certain times in your life when there's more stress placed on your mind, or if you have money riding on it, you have all these external pressures, they can build and build and build and build. So I think, the idea that, one, sports psychology is a weakness, that if weak athletes don't see sports psychologists, it's those that are under a lot of pressure. And sometimes it's internal pressure, but other times it's external pressure as well. So it's one, you need to, once again, do that needs assessment. Okay, when you're working with athletes, you're going through all these different things. Okay, do they have any current aches and pains or injuries? Where are they limited in their range of motion? Where are they limited in their strength? What about their nutrition? What about their sleep? What about their mental state? You pick the biggest fish to fry, and then you address that. Okay, if it is the mental state, you need to start going to figure out what plan you're going to do to make it better. I think talking with a sports psychologist is one of those things that can be done. Top three mental skills. I'm a big fan of mental incantations for athletes to use during tough practices and sets or times when they don't want to be there. Let's be honest, everyone hits that point where they don't want to be at practice. They're fatigued, they're tired, their girlfriend, boyfriend dumped them, their dog died, whatever. They're in a bad mood. They got to get their mental state there to have a good workout. And positive, repetitive incantations can help out with that. I also think visualization is a nice thing, as well as meditation. I think those are three helpful skills that athletes can use on their own to get this whole ball rolling if maybe they don't have access to a sports psychologist or it's just not feasible for them financially. All right, next question. Best mobility exercise for movement around thoracic spine, scapular, shoulder. This is a tough one. I think there's a lot of different things, and it depends on what the athlete has done in the past as well as what their understanding is. As far as simple ones, I like cherry pickers for rotational thoracic spine mobility or T-spine work on the bench when their elbows are on a bench, they're extending backwards. I also am a big fan of just general foam rolling, side to side thoracic spine and foam rolling, also vertical thoracic spine foam rolling there. I really think those are the simplest things you can do. I also like to do harder things with a baseball. You have the baseball, you're doing rotary, thoracic spine rotation, things like that can be very helpful as well. Mike, you want to say hi? Give everyone a wave.
How's it going?
All right, this is Mike, another one of our strength coaches here, former diver at Michigan. He's Ant-Man extraordinaire. Okay, so next question. The use of fins and kickboards. Once again, they have a time and place. I think using them excessively for training isn't really recommended. In my opinion, I think kickboards, I've wrote an article in the past of why we need to ditch kickboards completely. That is a little clickbait title, in all honesty, but I do think it's overused, okay? It's one, you're holding them in shoulder impingement constantly. It's altering their biomechanical position, so how much does it transfer? You could debate. I also think doing kicking on your back, where you're doing more work with underwaters. Once again, underwater is, for short course swimming, is the most important skill to have. So I think athletes and teams could utilize and work on this more. But say, you need some lower body endurance, say they need a little social element, kickboards, go for it. Fins, maybe an athlete is just not feeling the water appropriately, then maybe utilizing fins could be something to help them out along the way. But once again, use it as a tool, not a crutch. Okay, who's the best in the world at sports psychology? I don't know. I don't know that many sports psychologists, in all honesty. But maybe I know John Heel out of the East Coast. He's worked with a lot of swimmers. First one off the top of my head. So reach out to him if you're looking for someone. I know he does remote things as well. I have a pain in the knees because of flip turns and dolphin kicks. What can I improve? Maybe your technique, in all honesty. First of all, I got to figure out what's the root cause of this issue. Sounds like it's a patellar tendon issue, in all honesty. So I'm intrigued if you're bending your knees too much on the flip turn. Maybe try and stick your butt back more when you push off, as well as foam rolling on the quads. That might do the trick. On as far as your dolphin kick goes, maybe try and actually get more of a hip undulation with it versus just a knee bend motion. See if that helps out with the knees, Rodrigo. I'm not sure if it will. We got to know a lot more info, but at least give it a try. Next one. Thanks for coming to the Philippines. Thank you for your book. How to show it feel? Okay. Hey, sure thing. Yeah. Philippines, great time. Got some good food, balut and all that. Didn't even get food poisoning, so had a great time. Hope to get back there and help you guys out some more there. But yeah, once again, static shoulder stretching is something that PTs are generally accepting and getting away from more and more, especially with those that are overhead athletes that are usually hypermobile. So soft tissue, soft myofascial release, those things. Give it a try. I know that's like. I'm on the bandwagon, you guys might say for it, but God, I see it day in and day out. Every person I see, give them a few things, boom, feeling, moving better, performing better. Everyone's a happy camper. How to get joint pains every time I do freestyle. I'm assuming this is how to get rid of joint pains every time I do freestyle, not how to get joint pains every time I do freestyle. If you want joint pains every time you do freestyle, you got to swim with your head up, arms internally rotated like this, crossing your body and pulling down like that. So that's if you want shoulder pain, as your question says. But if you don't want joint pains when you swim freestyle, I'd say make sure fingertips are entering, diving deeper into it, getting the high elbow catch, pulling straight through the body while that body is rotating 30 to 45 degrees. So that is probably what you were asking. But hey, in case you want shoulder pain, once again, I know we'll have to get a screenshot of this great view. Head up, shoulder internal rotated, crossing the body, pulling through. Looks like Hawkins Kennedy, right, Aaron? Yep, exactly. So that's if you want shoulder pain over and over, that goofy, awkward movement. I can still feel it in this, squeaky wheel. All right, next question. Older swimmer, like to compete, wondering how far to swim train weekly. If you really are competitive, the more you swim, the better you're going to get. So I don't think there yeah, I think it's one you got to build up progressively, obviously, but I do think you can put in a fair amount of volume still. It's one where I would focus around a lot of high intensity stuff to build up that speed because a lot of master's programs are still doing a lot of aerobic work, but doing high intensity stuff, repeat stuff around your goal times and building it up from there. But I do think being in touch with the water 5 to 6 days, probably for an hour, is what's going to be required to be the best possible. Obviously, you're swimming that much, you might be putting your orthopedic self at risk. So you have to kind of, once again, weigh everything appropriately. Is it worth the orthopedic rest for swimming performance at that age? Hey, that's your call, man. You can do whatever you want. It's just one of those you have to really be internally aware of what you're working on, what you need to change. Maybe you need to work with someone to, once again, go through that needs analysis to see what's working for you and then go from there. Next question, what can I do about cramps, especially in the tendons behind my hamstrings and feet and calves? So we kind of talked about this already, but once again, cramps are usually from fatigue. That's what we're seeing in the research. So get in better shape. That's number one. Number two, if you're super fatigued, you can do things like meditate, massage, self-massage, these things to get the body feeling a little bit better. So by the time you get to practice, you have that big kick set with fins, you're not at that risk of cramping. But most of the time, cramping is just you're not in good enough shape. Okay, so get in better shape. Why is it getting tough to get right alignment? Like I'm swimming more on my right side, left rolls less. It sounds like we have an athlete who's rolling more to one side than the other. There's a bunch of things that could be causing this. First of all, we all have muscular imbalances in our life. No one's this perfect, symmetrical creature like you see with like Michelangelo, whatever that picture is. So we have to just keep that in mind. And then two, biomechanically, what's going on? Maybe you're pulling across your body, you're pulling in a different pattern on one side, causing more rotation to that side. Maybe you are breathing more on one side than the other. All these different things can be involved. So I can't give an answer just based off of that info. Find a coach, find someone to work with, find someone to review your stroke, and then address it accordingly. Hey, you're welcome, Jake. Glad you like swimming science. Next one, how often do we do these live feeds? We're going to start doing them every month. So if you have questions that pop up along the way that you think about later after this, shoot it on our Facebook Messenger. We'll try and answer it here. Or you get on these chats, write the chat question in, and we'll go from there. What makes someone good at kicking, ignoring big feet? How can you improve someone's kicking? Should you pull and kick with the same side at the same time or opposite and free and back? Okay. How does someone become a good kicker? There is some research that shows that actually ankle range of motion doesn't influence kicking speed. However, when you look into this study specifically, it wasn't that good of swimmers they were looking at. They were looking at 34-second yard 50 freestylers. So I do think ankle range of motion is a big thing. So making sure that you can reduce your drag in the water is key. I also think improving your kicking biomechanics, making sure you're getting that whip-like kick and kicking in both directions. Most swimmers can kick down, but you got to grab that on the way up as well. So making sure you are kicking in both directions there, kicking from the hip, and then building up your kicking speed tempo. Because the kick in the legs are going to cause a little bit of drag in the water. So you got to get them moving fast. Personally, with free and back, I like it when the down kick occurs when the opposite arm enters the water to mainly balance the athlete, because in kicking, once again, it's not as propulsive as the catch, so we got to balance out in the water and make sure that they are aligned appropriately. Okay, my daughter is 9 years old, swimming 3 times a week in a local squad. How do I make sure she doesn't burn out and stay interested? One, don't make her go to 10 practices a week, that's for sure. That will do it real quick. So make sure that it's an environment where they are fostering proper technique, where they are fostering learning of skills versus performance, and then make sure she's having fun. She's enjoying the pool. Sometimes these things, how do you make sure she's interested or doesn't burn out? Part of it's out of your control. Okay, the kids that love swimming, they want to go to the pool. Okay, they just want to go to the pool. And as a parent, sometimes, in my opinion, I'm not a parent, so take this for what it is. You just gotta, you have to keep in mind the long term. Sometimes you say, hey, let's take a day off. I know you love it, but let's skip this meet just to make sure they're hungry still, make sure they still want to do it. Because sometimes you'll get a real gifted young swimmer and they want to swim, you want to swim, and you want to please them, and the coaches are happy because they're swimming fast and the kid wants to be there. So you're feeding into them. Before you know it, they're 9 years old, they're doing 6 workouts, and they're going to a meet every weekend. And that will likely burn out. Okay, so we got to make sure you're fostering it, making making sure they're excited about getting to the pool, and then keep in mind, once again, that long term, because that's what it's all about, long term. Swimming's a great sport. You can do it till you're 80 years old. In Palo Alto, they do this Masters meet, and there's an event called the Mile Fly that they do. And I've seen 80-year-old people do it. So it's one of those, if you want to keep swimming, you can do the Mile Fly till you're 80, impress some people, okay? So once again, keep in mind the long term. Don't stress the short stuff. Okay, Stephen Brown, S-curve versus diagonal, same thing. I'm sorry, I know you mentioned S-curve or diagonal. I'm kind of confused what you're referring to. Are we talking about catching patterns? Maybe if you could clarify for me, Stephen, that would be helpful. I'm going to move on to the next one, but Stephen, let me know what you're thinking. I'm weak in kick. How can I improve? Like, I'm not moving fast, but small kids move fast. Fast, bro. So, bro, let me see what I can get here. We can kick. How can I improve? Practice it. Practice makes perfect, right? Work on your ankle mobility. Work on kick tempo. Work on kick timing. Okay, kicking with a board is all great and dandy, but a lot of coaches have seen a lot of swimmers that are great with a board, but they don't integrate their legs well. So integrate your legs well with your stroke. Work on your kick tempo. Bada bing, bada boom. Good luck, bro. Can you wear a knee brace while swimming? I mean, yeah, you could. As far as is it legal, no, I don't think it is. USC swimming went all, and I think FINA, in all honesty, I think it's outside of USC swimming. They went pretty crazy with the banning every little thing after the super suits because they're afraid everything's going to help swimmers go 16 seconds in the 50-yard free or 49s in the 100 fly. Oh, people are already doing that. But nonetheless, that's why tape's banned in swimming, because they're just paranoid about all that. But yeah, you could try a knee brace and just probably couldn't wear in a meet, just so you know. Looking at strength training, how often are you having high school athletes lift, and what are you focusing on? Most of our really competitive swimmers, and it depends on club to club. If it's a big volume, high intensity club, twice a week lifting is usually what we do. If it's a smaller, not as high a volume, say they're doing like a USRPT or a hybrid USRPT approach, then we might go up to 3 times a week. That doesn't mean there's not little elements of dryland mixed in every day. Sometimes other athletes are getting core every day. They're usually doing some mobility work every day. So once again, depending on the athlete, depending on what they need, depending on that needs analysis. If you don't have the tools or the manpower to be able to do all these different things, then I'd say either twice, 3 times a week, depending on what your program looks like. What we're focusing on, one, can they do basic skills? Can they squat properly? If they can squat, can they single limb squat properly? If they can do that, can they do a pistol? Next, can they do a push-up properly? Can they do a single arm push-up properly? Next, can they do a pull-up properly? Can they do a 1.5 arm pull-up properly? Next, can they hip hinge properly? Can they single limb hip hinge properly? Next, can they provide abdominal bracing? Can they do front planks, side planks? All these things with all these areas braced, these are the main things we're checking off. Once we can have them do all these things, then we can get the fancier, sexier stuff along the way. And then once they're hitting junior, senior year, we're having them reach out to their potential colleges so we can learn about what type of program they're doing so we can make sure they're ready. We're not a big Olympic lifting facility for overhead athletes here, but if that's what, say they're going to Florida and they're going to be lifting with Caleb Dressel and doing maybe some Olympic lifts with, that program down there, I got to make sure they know how to do the movements and do the skills. So by the time they learn the skill in a small environment here, they're not, they're ready to go when they get to college. It's not like, oh yeah, have fun in college, good luck. Oh, by the way, you're going to be lifting overhead for the first time in your life. That's not safe or appropriate. Okay. What can I do about my clicking left shoulder problem? Persisted 2 years. 1, does the clicking hurt? That's the number one thing. If it doesn't hurt, I wouldn't worry about it too much. It will mean there's extra stress in the shoulder, but I'd say doing some soft tissue, self-myofascial release, infraspinatus, find a good soft tissue person in the area, see if that takes care of it. I swim 50 free, 25 early, but I'm too weak in kicking, need to improve my start, give some suggestions. Want to improve your start? One, you got to figure out what starting style is best for you. If you need to be doing a rock back or a four weighted, rear weighted, what is going to be the best for you? So you got to try those different styles. Two, you got to nail the angle of entry, make sure that you're really getting through the water quickly, and then also you got to nail how many dolphin kicks you're doing for a perfect breakout. Good luck. 19, have injuries both my shoulders, tendons that come out from biceps, make some problems in the joint. This injury is going on 3 years, still so far. I feel the whole body becomes weak. No strength in upper body. You need to find a rehab specialist, a PT, a chiro, massage therapist, someone who can help you out, because I can't answer and give you everything you need here, okay? You are having issues, you have an injury, go see someone. Simple as that, okay? If you can't find someone in your area, schedule a consultation. Info at Swimming Science, hit me up. We'll figure it out and get you moving along, okay? While kicking, my hip gets so tight or too tight, so I'm unable to move fast. Give some tips there. Yeah, doing some simple hip flexor stretching might be one thing to work on. Try not to sit so much throughout the day might be a good one. Doing some soft tissue work on the quads, psoas, iliacus might be a good one. Give that a try. Maybe you're trying to kick too much from your hip. Maybe try to kick more from the knees. Once again, there's two angles to everything. You got to give things a try. How good is it to combine exercises like chin-ups after push-ups while after swimming 200 meters? Question I'm trying to understand completely, but it sounds like we're trying to figure out. Okay, like should you do chin-ups and push-ups after swimming? Yeah, that's fine. Those are good exercises. Nice general strength, body weight exercises. So I think after swimming 200 meters, you can do those things. I like doing Dryland after swimming because I want the most out of our athletes in the pool for swimming. Dryland's complimentary. One of my swimmer got shoulder tear. How can he come back from swimming? What's a tear? Did he have surgery? See a PT, get a program or plan. If they stink and can't do it for you, give us an email and we'll figure out a consultation. Info at Swimming Science. Sorry if I'm sounding rude, but some of these things are so complex, I need so much more information, okay? And you can't expect me to know everything just based off of one little sentence or two. So not trying to be rude. I love the comments. I appreciate you guys for trying to help out, and I want to help out, but I can't give you misguided information, okay? All right, I'm going to give a couple more that we got through. Once again, email info swimming science, email questions after this, as well as Facebook. Shoot up Swimming Science on Facebook. Obviously, you know about that if you're on this. Okay, we had an article about fixing the swimming catch under land test. There was no video, so what can you assess for that? Yeah, in all honesty, this has probably changed a little bit. So when I'm looking at, how to fix someone's swimming catch, first it's do they have the range of motion? Then do they have the strength? Resisted external rotation, resisted internal rotation, do they have those things? After that, sometimes we'll look at single arm, seated, feet off the ground, medicine ball, chest press, just to check out upper body power. Outside of that, those are the main tests we're using right now. Other than that, we're watching them in the water. They're swimming biomechanics. What do we need to change? What do we need to fix? Fix. There we go. Okay. What are the main causes of swimmer shoulder? What are risk factors for swimmer shoulder? So main issues, swimming shoulder. I think the research shows swimming volume is the biggest factor, but we haven't researched swimming intensity that much, so keep that in mind. But swimming volume is the biggest contributor to swimming shoulder, swimming pain. Many years in the sport. A new research study just came out. By the way, I've been posting more abstracts on the website, and the people that we can interview for researchers and stuff, make sure you write your questions for them, because this would be perfect for that. Because the research studies came out showing years you're swimming in college and all that, the more damage we're seeing at the shoulder. So swimming volume, swimming years in the sport, that's the biggest thing that's going to contribute to shoulder pain. But You got to keep in mind all these things, and the research won't always know all this and get all this, but biomechanics, how that influences your anatomy. Maybe you got the short end of the stick and you don't have a flat acromion, a curved acromion, but a hooked acromion, and your freaking rotator cuff tendons just right under here, rubbing until it saws off and cuts. Maybe a little bit morbid, but hey, that's the fact. Some people are born with different shaped acromions. Not everyone's the same, or what we always think is everyone's the same. So those can put you at higher risk. Pulling pattern is what Stephen was talking to originally. Trying to do an S-curve, diagonal pattern. Yeah, I think it's pretty much accepted that you're going to be trying to pull in a straight pattern down, trying to grab as much water versus an S-curve. There may be an S-shaped pattern based off of your body roll, but you pretty much catch, grab, hold, body moves past the hand. So maybe you need to even change your whole mindset of, oh, I got to pull in this pattern and think, move my body past my hand. How much strength work should junior swimmers be doing? And what strength work do you suggest? I don't know what age junior is, but 2 to 3 times a week, depending on the program. Strength work, should have them impress me and show me single arm squat, pull up, single arm push up, long or single arm hip hinge. If they can do all these types of things, then we can start talking about what else. But it's easy to overcomplicate it, and kids want sexier things. They'll get in muscle and health magazines and see all this stuff, but show me the basics. Show me what the basics are, then we can progress. Dryland strength training is complementary to swimming training. I got a shoulder dislocation. I've undergone arthroscopic surgery. Can I come back into swimming? When was your shoulder? How did it go? What's your rehab been? Need more answers. Okay? So one of those, if you want to consult Info at Swimming Science. All right, 30 minutes is up, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining this. Hopefully you guys got something from it. If there's any other suggestions how I can improve this, what else we can do, please let me know. If you're interested in having me come work with your team, info at swimmingscience.net. We'll get back to you. We work with clubs of every size, shape, and form. So even if you're a small budget team, small team, reach out to us. We'll figure something out. We want to help swimmers get better, swim healthier, and swim faster, okay? Well, it's been great, everyone. Have a good night. Thanks again for joining.